holidays. What do you love the most from holidays? And I think that I really like holidays because it's also associated to the start of a new year and to making some proposals. And that is something that always inspires me, like to start the new year with the right step. And yeah, I think that that's what I like the most, to think of closing some processes and starting new processes, and maybe like I all the years say like, hey, next year I'm going to get into the gym, and maybe I don't do it, but it's just like to have that motivation. What about you, Griff?
Yeah, I think that that moment to reflect on your life and that like little pause is really valuable around this time of year where things kind of quiet down. I also think it's really nice to have this dedicated time for family events, and like it's there's a little bit of, at least for my family, there's a little bit of obligation to check in. I'm not as connected to my family as most of the rest of my family, because they're all living in basically the state of Washington, in the United States, and I'm never there for the holidays because I have like too much family, and it's too hard. So I just get to spend like a couple of days making phone calls to all the old people, and it's really nice. That's probably my favorite part. It's just like checking up and hearing their stories, and having this like time of remembrance of where you come from, and connecting with family. What about you, Tonga? What's your favorite part of this holiday season?
Um, I don't really like holidays. I don't like religion, so for example, Christmas is like I don't know. People used to ask me, "Oh, if you don't believe in God, why do you get presents from Santa or stuff like that? Why do you uh, uh, I don't know how to say. How do you party or how do you get together for this date?" Um, but I am open and I like that people. I like when I see people enjoy. So if other people enjoy, I'm fine. For me, it's a bit boring because most events I like are going to be suspended for a week or for a few weeks. So, but we'll see. Maybe it's time to do stuff in outside of the screen, uh, but I don't think so. Maybe a bit more than usual, but not so much more. Um, yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'll be here most days as always. And yeah, I talk to my family, but I don't want to make any special dinner. Like whenever I want to see them, I usually go see them at any time in the year. That's why I live in. I travel quite a bit, but now I live in Mendoza, and I like to live here, and I don't like much traveling. So yeah. Okay, Juanca, I pass it to you.
You're living in Mendoza?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. I went there like 2 years ago, and I really liked it. It's the weather is similar to Barranquilla, to the city where I live. That it's like very warm, at least in the moment I went.
Yeah. What did you do here? Like, where? What did you visit? Just to know.
We went to see some wineries,
Yeah.
and yeah, mostly that. It was a
Okay.
family trip.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's usually the stuff I don't do ever. Also because I don't like alcohol. But I know it because everyone knows it. But there is many more things to do if you ever come, yeah, again. So.
Okay, we are going to start with the topics of the agenda. And for today, we have 5 topics. First, I would like to make a review of what we have done so far in Gravity, where we are right now, and what is our plan for next month. Like what has been like the stages we have made, and how like the ideas have been like worked from docs to GitHub to the forum to the Miro to the even to the Ostrom book club, and how all these ideas are like matching to possibly then jump into the conviction voting. So it's like, what are the steps that we have gone through, and to check if the, the the sustainability of the project like goes through, or needs to pass through the conviction voting. The second point of the agenda is to include a private call via Calendly to reach a mediator in the organization. That is a suggestion that Livia made, and I think it's really great, because the type form is just one entry for the people to like comment any issue, but to have a call is much human, and also can be like more friendly. So the idea is to have like this availability and the list of mediators, and that anyone who has a conflict can just book a session with one of the mediators. And this is also for a preventive approach, because I think that when you address the type form, it's mostly like when something happens. But if you like address a call with a mediator, maybe it can be like a preventive scope. If you don't know how to manage a situation, it hasn't happened, but you would like to have like another point of view on it. The third point is to work a little bit on the training course that we are going to propose for the next year. I am really glad that Griff is here, because I like asked him once about the reward mechanism, and he like gave me a really good ideas, but I would like to go like dive deeper on it. And the holiday homework that the Gravity group is going to have, and also like all the stewards, is to work on the code of conduct. So what do you think about this agenda? Do you think there's something missing, or do you think it's good and we can like jump on it?
No, I think it's great.
Okay. Okay, so we are going to the first point, and like to make the review.
I can take notes for you too, Wonka.
Okay, I am like also, yeah, thank you, Griff. I can also do it as well. Yeah, so we started with an initial idea that was in this document that is named Gravity Conflict Management for the TEC. And in that idea, we like it was presented very broadly what could be an alternative dispute resolution system inside the TEC. So like it has like a very big idea on what are we trying to do, and it also is very related to the Ostrom principles, which when I started doing this document, I had read them like not so deeply, but after like started working in Gravity, I have read a little bit more on Ostrom principles, and now I think that I have a more clear picture on what do we need to to be enduring CPR institutions, and how our community itself is a common, and what is the importance of having clear rules, what is the importance of having a monitoring system, what is the importance of having compliance on the rules. So yes, after that, um, we like divided the work into three epics that are in GitHub. And the three epics are around the process, the onboarding of the mediators, and the role design. So I think we have developed a little bit more the idea, and right now what we have proposed, um, it is that the process like has some really clear steps on what is the cycle of a conflict in the organization, and also like what are the steps that follow when people address a conflict via the type form or via the calendar. So the like the process generally is clear, but I think that we still need to make it much more easy to understand, and much more familiar with all the community. Um,
Sounds like
the
sounds like it needs an infographic.
yes, yes, that would be it, like an infographic on like and to make everyone in the organization like to know what to expect when they start in this process, and also to like give feedback to the people that participates in it. And this is another idea that Lydia gave to me yesterday that was really good, about sending thank you messages to the people that participate in these systems, because um, it's not easy to like try to implement this, and to have people that is like following, and like also helping to test this is very good, and also so like people doesn't feel that they gave a suggestion or that they commented on some issue and that nothing happened. So yeah, on the onboarding, we are trying to design a course that is the third point of the agenda. But and here there are some questions that I haven't like set still, and are like, when is this course going to start? I am proposing it to be a 8 session course, and I made it with like my comprehension about um, conflict management, but I would also love to see if there is like another suggestion of topics that are not in the agenda and can be added, and also
I haven't had a chance to read the forum post, but are these classes that you will teach, or are they classes from something else?
well, there are some classes that I can teach, but I would like to have another experts, so it's not like we are self like training, and also because I would like to have like the same certificate of training that other people have. So it's like I am the teacher, like that would be a conflict around what is my role being a teacher and also a student in the group, in the course. So I think that I can be like a facilitator for some of the classes, and also to like coordinate the thing about about readings and recommend some bibliography on each of the topics. But I would also like to have like yeah, people from other communities to, or even cannot be from decentralized communities, can be just an expert on conflict resolution, uh, that can like complement these ideas. Yeah, so that design course, we're going to see it a little bit more detailed when we jump into the third point of the agenda. But the idea is to have a certificate of training that allows, like, I am hoping to have around 10 people on the organization to like post its availability on the Calendly, so like everyone can reach them, and also so that uh, there can be like cases assigned to them, like if there's a case that involves just two people, that maybe they are responsible of like following their communication, following the case, like talking to the stakeholders, and yeah. And this third epic is around role design, and I think we have like done good at it, because right
Wait,
now,
I didn't fully catch it. Can you just say, like, are you expecting, so you're expecting to find individual teachers as opposed to finding, or are you going to use someone else's conflict management course? And is that, or what's the strategy for finding people to teach these A courses?
well, I know some teachers of conflict resolution, because like I have certainty, no certainty, like I am close to the university where I studied my master on conflict management, but like these teachers mostly speak Spanish, so I think that would be like a bottleneck for the course. And maybe I think that we can have like one or two guests that can like, yeah, help to give legitimacy on what we are creating, because maybe if we like teach and don't have like this outsider like backup, maybe it can seem like we're just teaching what we want to teach, and not like there is this connection around the theories that we are teaching with the sciences and with the experts in this area. So yeah, and I have like a design of two activities that would like, be like the practical case. One is an activity for solving individual conflicts, and the other activity is for solving group conflicts, collective conflicts. So there would be like two practices and 6 study sessions, and I would like to have at least like one or two guests. It would be like really nice to have one or two guests.
I
And
guess I guess what I'm afraid of is this seems like a lot of work to run this class, and I'm sure that there are some of these classes could be done through Coursera or through some sort of like external certification that already exists, and we don't have to do anything, and that there could be like at least I think a lot of these courses are critical, like having the practice cases that are specifically applied to token engineering, the process deep dive, and some Ostrom. Like I think a lot of these things are real spiral dynamics. I assume that you can get Fabian or someone to, or Durgadas to come teach these things. But I would love to see some of these classes like theories of conflict and even practical cases. negotiation and alternative dispute resolution outsourced to some free course or even a paid course that the TEC would pay for. That would even get someone like an external certification, like you were mentioning before, that might have value outside of this, and also create less work.
Well, that is something that needs to be reviewed because that was my initial approach, but like the course I saw Coursera weren't like
They weren't acceptable.
like yeah they and I also think that this course is like very tailored to our community, so maybe it would be like really nice to have a course like really made for the community. But yeah, this is something that needs to be done, and maybe I think that in these holidays I can take some time to like review bibliography on each of the topics to like shape a little bit how it's going to be the tackle each topic. But
Okay.
Yeah, welcome, Kieran.
hello, Kelly.
Hello, I just want to say Merry Christmas. You know all that, so yeah.
Merry Christmas, Kieran. Thank you.
Right?
Oh, and he's gone. Oh no.
Okay. Yeah, that is a question. What do you think? I mean, I know you suggest like ma- like saving some work and like trying to go with a course already created, but like I have researched and I haven't found like I think that we still need to research more on it to see if there are some course or if you follow us as I am initial like I am proposing like this is a course made for by ourselves for ourselves.
Well, I think it should be both and. Sorry, Tommy. I think it should be both and. It needs to be for us, but maybe a portion of it could just be outsourced, right? Like some of the basics. And ideally, it would even just be a 2-hour course, you know? 2 to 3 hours of like very basic, fundamental thing that in some ways also would give legitimacy to what we're doing, that it's not just we're making all of this up, but finding people that we agree with, but, well, here's this very popular course that, you know, 1 million people have taken that gives you the very basic common vernacular of conflict management that's like, you know, generally accepted and true.
Yeah, I was
Oh, you're
thinking
muted.
I was thinking about it. Can you hear me?
I still
Yeah, we can hear you, Connor.
Yeah. So, for example, I've been to multiple psychologists in my life, like maybe 4, and yeah, I think like I love what Juanca is doing, like the mirror board. I've been like not didn't take a full look at it, but I think what Juanca is doing is very related to this community. So, and probably it's likely going to work better um, than stuff that is not like designed specifically for this community. But also, I agree there is like standard knowledge on psychology and conflict resolution. And yeah, I know a few guys, but one speaks in English and one speaks in Spanish, and I don't know if they would. One is a psychologist, and the other is not, but the other one is the one I trust the most. So I could maybe they could teach some stuff, but I don't. I wasn't very convinced. I don't know if they can fit. Um, so yes, but I love the mirror ball, Juanca, that you did. Like I think it's like maybe a new way if it didn't exist before, but yeah, I don't know.
You're muted, Wonka, sorry.
I think I need to do like more research on it to see like if there is a course that we can like use just to like as we've said to like outsource some of the most basic content and then we the part that is very associated to our own process we can handle it and maybe you say like it can be like shorter but um, I, I also liked um, the dynamic that we are having in the book club. So I thought also that maybe we can have like a similar dynamic where there are like study material for each session and like people should go with that session having read the material. But this is something that definitely needs more work and that I will try to search in the holidays for to ground this idea.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't, if we have to use other courses, other people, if we can't use other people's courses, then we have to create all of that material that people have to read, right? I mean, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. So it will be easier if we found it, but that that's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, I'm sorry for lingering on this topic. I'm sure you'll.
No problem. Also, Griff, if you want to help me in like looking into different courses, or if you like know have
I definitely will search myself as well.
yeah, please, because also the thing is that there are some differences around the concepts between Spanish and English. So I searched like conflict management. That is how we speak it in Spanish, but in English it says dispute resolution. So like when I search for conflict management, it's like it's the same. It should be the same of dispute resolution, but like it delivers different results um, when searching for courses. But yeah, that's something that needs to be done.
I think that is like two different topics, or at least to me, dispute resolution is between many people, and conflict management can be like one with oneself. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's like a conflict between words because when you like search, it like it's the same, but it also like takes you to different pages. If you search it as conflict management or if you search it as dispute resolution, but when you click them, like the information is very similar. So yeah, but Griff said that he was going to take that issue about looking how can we observe some content, and I like totally have confidence that he's going to do a good job on this. Okay, so we are going to jump into the third epic, that is the role design, and I have also um, made a post about the gravity role design, and in that forum post, basically it states that the conflict managers should have an additional code of conduct or a specific code of conduct besides the code of conduct of the whole organization. And that's something that the stewards have been working on, that we are trying to set a code of conduct like for the different work we are doing. But for the case of gravity, um, I made these exigencies that are requirements to join and to stay in the collective. So that are like voluntary process, self-determination, conflict of interest, competence, confidentiality, impartiality, professional responsibility, and rotation. And like if a person inside the group violates any of these requirements, like confidentiality or self-determination, he can be like expelled from its responsibilities in the group. So I think that is like we have shaped it a little bit, and we have I proposed also three levels of confidentiality. There's something that we've said that it's really true that right now the type form is in a common stack account, but we should think in the midterm to have our own type form account for the gravity group, that that way we can ensure that only three people is going to look at the answers of the type form. And these are the responsibilities of role. That is that as individuals, they promote dialogue within the organization and manage conflict at rest. As a collective, take decision on the implementation of graduate exemptions, and both as collective and individuals to commit to the practice of preventing, contextualizing, and resolving disputes by regular attendance in our community practice. So I think like that's a first draft of the role. It can be like evolved, but I think that we have like a first glance of what is this role. But there are two things that I didn't that are still to decide, and is the voting mechanism that they are going to have as a group to implement to take decisions. I think it can be just a very simple voting mechanism, like one person, one vote, but I don't know if it should be done in a call or if we should have like an application for this. And the other question that I have is the reward mechanism. I would love to hear Griff about this thing of the reward mechanism, because yeah, you gave me an idea yesterday, but I would like to like go deep on it, on the reward mechanism.
Okay, so two things on the democracy piece. For decision making, the first thing is to determine what types of decision you expect to have to be made. So once you've identified a class of decisions, that's the first step for determining how to decide, right? So what are you deciding on? And so you write out what you're deciding on, and then from there you can say, okay, well, these are the people that should be involved. Is it the whole community? Is it just the people who have passed the course? Is it the acting gravity group, right? That's the who, and then and you have the what, which is what the decision topic, and then the how is derived from those. So without those two things very, very crystal clear, then you can't really decide the mechanics. And then, sorry, if you want to comment on that, you can. Okay. The other side of the payments are that you need to have. It's honestly like payments are such a pain in the ass, and I've done it so many different ways in crypto, and nothing beats having one person manage the funds. You know, and just being like, yes, this person is the lead of the group. They manage the funds. You can have that be a rotation. You know, you can have it be whatever, but there is one person who is responsible for negotiating with each individual member to determine the payment requirements. And you have a budget they have to live within, and that budget is determined by what you can request from conviction voting. So Gravity Group requests funds from conviction voting. You have to figure out what you have to spend on courses, what you have to spend on people doing work, and there's just one person who manages the entire budget, and you can't beat that. You can't. It's too complicated. It's, when you try to decentralize these things, you end up going over budget, or you end up requesting more money than you need, and that causes problems too. It's really important to have one mind on this very touchy issue.
Okay, so I have to like see myself as that person that is going to manage funds, or like I just have to make the budget and to have another person to manage, or like if I am the gravity lead, I should the gravity fund, and like
Definitely.
okay, and for the voting, yeah, I think that some things are
You
really
can rotate though. On the budget thing. You can rotate. You can say, hey, I'm doing this for the first 6 months. And then we're going to have to find someone else to take it.
Okay, and for the voting, yeah, I think that the class of decisions that they are going to take are decisions according to the graduated sanctions. The decisions are about the implementation of sanctions. Who is going to participate? I am proposing that only the people that are the active gravity members, that are the ones that successfully take and pass the course, are the ones that have voting power. Um, and why is a collective decision? Because I don't want to have like the implementation of sanctions to be like an arbitrary decision of a person, and I would like to give it like the full legitimacy of a collective decision on that take.
Well, are you going to have to vote on, like, if Human comes in and starts interrupting meetings? Sorry, you have to on. Thanks. I'm sorry, man. If Human comes in and starts interrupting meetings, does that mean that you have to vote for someone to implement a server mute? Like, like, I hope not. I hope that there is some agency on certain sanctions. I mean, like, there are, like, maybe if you want to say, we're going to block Human from even joining the calls because of this or that, maybe that's something that needs to be voted on, or needs to, and by voted on, what are the voting requirements? Maybe that's just a 2 out of, 6 people need to decide that, and having, it seems very context dependent, right? Like every social media layer, like Discord, will have some certain levels of graduated sanctions that are possible. Telegram will have different levels of graduated sanctions that are possible. Honestly, kicking someone out of a Telegram group it's like one or the other. There's nothing. It's an on-off switch, whereas Discord has like a lot of variability. So maybe in Discord, one person can decide to kick someone out for a day, they can come out tomorrow, back tomorrow. Like what levels of agency do you want to give to each individual? Remember, it's very should be, for graduate sanctions, should be very context dependent, and each level I don't think you can do it like, oh, what does the group have to do? That level is too hard to determine, but context dependent, you can say in this court, these are the levels of graduate sanctions, and these are the requirements for them to be applied. In the forum, these are the level of graduate sanctions, these are the levels that need to be applied. And instead of coming from okay, we have this group, what collective decisions do they have to make? It's like, no, we have these graduate sanctions, what requirements do they have to be fulfilled? You're muted.
Okay. So, like you're saying to have more clear rules so that the implementation of the rule cited by a collect, but just like the rule itself give like the answer of what is going to be the response.
And what is the checks and balances? What checks and balances? Like how much agency is each member given? And honestly, decisions are not made by groups. Decisions are checked by groups.
Okay. So, okay. So what if a mediator can like implement a sanction, but then in the group they like check that sanction that was implemented? Like, yeah, it was a reasonable response. Yeah, or like, okay, we think that this was too much. Maybe we can go another way, or maybe the sanction was too weak, problem persisted, and we need to have a harder sanction. So maybe it can be like this collective review. It can be after the first decision taken by the mediator or the gravity member.
And the monitoring service will very much help with this, right? Like the type form, like, dude, if you start muting me on giving the Thursday call, I'm gonna be pissed and I'm gonna fill out a conflict. Like, I have a conflict with Juan, man. He's abusing his power, and then, wow, there's a conflict with Juan, okay, I think we can be, because of these qualifications that are required to even enter this position of power, there is some responsibility, of course, when you have that position of power, and that authority can be taken from you. And in that like, with great power comes great responsibility, right? And great accountability from the rest of the group. So the entire gravity group needs to hold each other accountable higher than anybody else, for sure. That being said, graduate sanctions need to be applied in context, and anytime that someone takes the risk to apply them, like, they're going to be judged harder than anybody else because of that authority. So I think we can expect some support there. And if it's not, what I want to say is we need to be able to control our streams of communication. If someone is DMing people and telling them to go to some, fucking balancer app, I get these DMs all the time on Discord that say, come to my scam website. We need to boot that person from our server. And I don't want it to be like, oh, we have to vote, and it takes 3 days for you to get a hold of somebody. Like, there's a specific job to do, and we have to trust the people who are appointed to do it. You know, of course, if it's an honest mistake, we need to make sure that people are aware that there are places, you know, that the monitoring service exists, and they can use it to keep a check on the conflict on the gravity group and any other relationship. Voting sucks, man. Voting slows things down.
Yeah, that gives me a lot of light, and I think I'm going to go with that path. So, like, the mediators are responsible of the sanctions they implement, but if there is no agreement on the sanction, or if like the people doesn't feel that it was good, then we can have like a group check on the issue, like
And there,
to have a group check being as a secondary point.
and there could be reporting requirements. I mean, you know, like instead of vote, it's like, hey, if you mute someone in the server, you need to report it somewhere. If you apply a graduate sanction, you need to report the fact. I mean, this is how the police do it, right? If the police do something, they have to report it. And I hate using the police, but it's the most obvious, like, analogy, right? They are the dispute resolution. They are the main dispute resolution authority that we think of. So what do the police do? Well, you know, if they do anything, they better write it down so that there's documentation of it. If they don't write it down, if they're afraid to write it down, or, you know, they really should probably reconsider taking that action. And it helps. It's a personal check. And this could be as simple as just sending a message to the Gravity Telegram group. You know, it doesn't have to be like filing a TPS report. It can be like, hey, I muted this person. We could even have a bot. Dish praise for 2-1 myself for muting this person, and then it just gets recorded in a spreadsheet. We can make the bot a little better than the praise bot, but you know, it can be pretty simple.
Okay, then I think we're going to follow that path where, like, if people is a mediator, then they should be responsible of the power they have of implementing sanctions. And as you say, like, if a mediator implements a sanction arbitrary, then he is like staking all the trust he has, like, harvested and has like tried to build in the community. So yeah, I think that is good. And also the idea of this is to have like fast responses. My initial like take on it was like they do in sports, like the judge like first acts on his thought, but then if he like commits an error, then there is the video assistant referee. So like I think that we can have it like that. So like first we have the mediator that can implement a sanction, but then we have the group of collective people that can take the decision if that sanction like didn't like wasn't fair, or there was a conflict around it. So yeah, I think we can
We
look at
have to trust. We have to trust each individual referee. We have to. And they get informed about a topic. They understand their role. We can divvy up responsibilities. We can say, hey, you are the one who's monitoring Discord. You are the one who's monitoring Telegram. You are the one who's monitoring GitHub. You are the one who's monitoring the forum. And you can divide and conquer these very different and complicated tasks, and you know, And some people can take on multiple, some people just take on one. And then they have the expertise, they know what's happening, they feel the vibe and the pulse, but they're checked by the rest of the group, and they're checked by the community, and they're checked by, and then of course there are some certain graduated sanctions that's like, hey, we should remove this person's C-stack tokens, right? That would be a recommendation. Maybe it requires a vote, right? Maybe it doesn't, honestly. Maybe, but either way, it does require a vote because the Common Stack Association has to vote to do that. It's not even in the power of the Gravity group to do that. And there's probably other checks, like a public warning, maybe a public warning, or I don't know, something that feels like it could be defamation needs to be checked by having someone else read it or edit it. If there's a public notice of something, or maybe removing an issue from conviction voting, or maybe that needs 2 people. It could easily be a multi-sig of like 5 or 6 people, and a 2 of 6 multi-sig. I don't know. It depends. You're muted.
Okay, that I think that I'll keep working on that, and I'll have time in this holiday. So yeah, I'll keep working, and I really like the scope that you're giving me because maybe try to make everything on both is like making things slow and like trying everyone to be involved in everything, and it should be like really fast responses. So yeah, maybe it should be just like a challenge or for really specific issues where the decision should like the collective, or as you say, like as a multi-sig. So I think we have gone with that with the reward mechanism and with the training course. I want to know if you think it's a good idea to have like an availability of the list of the mediators, like private call. Do you think that's good? I think it's awesome because it's also a more human approach.
Very much. But I think 30 minutes might be too much. It'd be nice to have 15 minutes because like most people don't need more than 15 minutes. If you give people half an hour, you will be wasting a person's half an hour to talk about how someone got their name wrong or something. And then if there is a lot of conflict all of a sudden, you can schedule 4 in an hour instead of 2.
Okay, that's perfect. Here, 15. And the other holiday homework is to keep working on the code of conduct. That is a really big document, and I think it's a very big challenge because each of the stewards have to like get really involved, and this has to like be transversal to the not only to the work that each group does, but also to the connection that each group has with the other one. So yeah, I think this is something that we still need to really work on. And yeah, this is going to be like a holiday homework. And if any of the people in the Gravity working group want to like add some things into the conflict management section of the code of conduct, they can do it. And what I am going to do is to paste some of the information that is already on the forum, like the 8 requirements and like the levels of confidentiality to paste them here, and also to like review all this work, because I think it's very important that we have this like document where it states the processes and the rules.
I agree completely, and it's really nice to have it all in one place. I think that there will be a lot of copy and paste for each, for Discord, for Gitcoin, like most of the code of conduct is the same, but in Discord we have to say all calls are going to be are possibly recorded and put on YouTube. So if you don't want to do it, make sure you turn off your video and you take your own privacy precautions. If you feel like you want your video taken down, that is possible. Please reach out to the transparency working. For GitHub, we probably need a CLA agreement, and that needs to be implemented. Sucks, but we should really do that, because otherwise people can say, I contributed that code to my code, and you can't use it without paying me. Things like this. There's like, whoa, wait, I thought we were open source here, Like, these have caused problems in the past. So we just have to, every context has its own code of conduct requirements and its own code of conduct execution. And it's a lot of work for a normal, legitimate organization. They have one person working full-time on maintaining this kind of thing. Like, if you're a large enough organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that we have done like great advances in Gravity. Like, it's amazing just to see how an idea is becoming like a group of people, and also like an agreement of behavior, and to promote wanted behavior, and to have like a cultural appliance of rules. That's amazing, and I've learned so much like doing this work and like being involved in the community, that for me it's been like a really growing process and an amazing step to be like working on this.
Yeah, thanks Juan for taking it on. It's a lot of work. And digital communities have their own little magic, and digital crypto communities have their own little tiny things, Scammers that take certain approaches, and all these little things that are not obvious until you've gone through a couple bull market cycles and you see what happens, and there'll be new things that happen, that we'll find out that we need to apply. And whatever we come up with Gravity to start, we have to just accept it'll be good enough and it will evolve. It will evolve. I just hope that we always maintain this perspective that Gravity to succeed needs to be working, in my opinion, for multiple organizations. Otherwise, it's too much work for the teams. There's not too many resources going to solve not enough conflicts, right? So, I'm excited to see the scale. I'm excited, and I'm also excited to see it attract some interesting people, reaching out to Inspiral, reaching out to a few people that I can think of that may have had an experience, negative experiences in conflict resolution. I think Metacartel would be very excited to give a grant to Gravity to support this, and maybe we can make it eventually we can evolve. I think the TEC will be able to support it to start, and then hopefully we can evolve and lessen the requirements of funding from the TEC.
Great, and I am here like to receive your guidance with humility and with gratitude. So yeah, like everything you are doing to help to grow this idea and to scale it, and the way you see it, like I really vibrate with this because yeah, that would be amazing to have a conflict resolution in place in different communities, and yeah, for me that would be like a really good contribution for the decentralized world, and that is something that I really want to keep working on.
Nice. Yeah. Well, cool, man. You're coming in an hour. Will you be the moderator for the praise mass?
Yes, yes, I will be there.
Perfect.
And after, as I told you, I am going to give some presents to the people in the streets because here the situation is very difficult. But I have to thank that I am in a position of giving.
That's great. Yeah. Congrats, man. Well, cool. Well, Tonga, do you have anything to say as we check out? Thank you for recording, Tonga.
Yeah, I hope the
Gracias.
recording went well. Thank you guys for all the talks, and yeah, it is really insightful every day to hear you. So, yeah.
Thank you, Tonga.
Chao, gracias. Nos vemos ahorita.
Yeah. Hasta luego.